Hello everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Automation Agent, the channel where we talk about AI powered automation. In this episode, we are diving into the exciting world of conversation agents, all powered by GenAI.NET library. First, let's take a look at GitHub repository of the GenAI.NET library, where you will find a comprehensive collection of documentation and numerous helpful examples. A link to this repository is given in the description below. Now, let's take a deep dive into it. To begin, we are going to create a new project using .NET Framework Console application template. Let's name it Test Generative AI. Next, we are going to import GenAI.NET NuGet library and add it to our project. Once everything is set up, it's time to create a very first example on GenAI.NET. Brace yourself for a classic Hello World example, but with a twist. We'll leverage the power of GenAI.NET to generate the message for us. What you just witnessed was a straightforward request to the language model. It's important to note that this particular model does not possess any memory capabilities. Consequently, if I were to ask a question like, "What is my name?" at this moment, the model will be unable to provide an answer. While the language model is impressive with its capability to generate responses based on the contextual information within a specific interaction, it does have a limitation when it comes to retaining the information from past requests or maintaining a consistent understanding of the conversation's context. That's where the generative AI service comes to the rescue. With generative AI service, you can create a conversation object that has memory. This means that you can build upon previous interactions, maintain the conversation chain, and enable the model to have a better understanding of the context. The getAI service method in the application class grants you access to the generative AI service instance. By calling the create conversation method on this service object and providing the conversation ID and the language model instance, you can obtain the conversation object. The conversation ID becomes useful when managing the multiple parallel conversations and allows you to retrieve a specific conversation. Once the conversation is created, you can add messages to it using append message method. To do so, you will need to create a chat message using the chat message object. The chat message requires a role which can be system, user, assistant, or a function. Now let's add a message to this conversation object and try to retrieve a response using the getResponse method. The temperature parameter to this method allows us to customize the level of creativity or randomness in the response. It ranges from 0 to 2, where higher value result in more imaginative and inventive responses. The response object returned from the conversation is once again a chat message, but this time with the role of assistant. When you retrieve a response using getResponse method, the returned object represents assistant's reply within the conversation context. Now, let's add another message to this conversation. What is my name? And observe the response. Thanks to the conversation context we have established, the language model should be able to provide an accurate response in this scenario. Okay, now let's explore another interesting feature called Function Toolset. This feature empowers your conversation agent with additional capabilities to execute specific tools and thus enabling them to respond more effectively to your conversations. A function toolset is essentially a collection of functions that can be executed with appropriate arguments. Within GenAI.NET, the interface iFunction toolset plays a crucial role. It offers two key methods, get functions and execute. While interacting with the language model, the conversation object leverages the toolset to provide additional context to the language model so that it can pass users' requests to identify the function and corresponding arguments required to execute. This enables a seamless integration of function execution within the conversation context, hence enhancing the responsiveness of your conversation agents. The function toolset feature is incredibly valuable when you want to augment your AI powered agent with a specific functionality so that it can go beyond basic language processing and perform tasks tailored to the unique requirements. Let's add a new class called weather information and implement a static method called getCurrentWeathers. This method is going to return weather information based on input parameters. We have two input parameters, location and unit. Now, to enhance the clarity and maintainability of the code, we are going to define an enum called temp unit. We are now going to add meaningful documentation to the method using XML comments. This documentation is going to help function toolset in creating a function descriptor based on the provided information. For the sake of demonstration, we have included a simple implementation within the method that returns a predefined weather message. In a real world scenario, you would call a weather API to fetch the actual weather information based on the provided location. Next, update the build properties of your project to enable the generation of XML documents. Okay, now let's create an instance of DLL function tools class by providing the full path of the DLL that implements the weather information class along with its fully qualified class name. Now this DLL function tool class utilizes reflection to extract all the public static methods from the specified class within the DLL and hence allowing it to implement the iFunction toolset interface. Once we have this instance, we can add it as a tool to the conversation object. Now let's ask the question, what is the weather like in Delhi? If you pose this question to ChatGPT, you will receive a response indicating that AI model doesn't possess the latest information, thus unable to provide accurate weather details. However, this is where the function toolset comes in handy. By executing the tool associated with the weather information, the toolset can provide you with the precise answer you are seeking. And that wraps up our exciting journey into the capabilities of GenAI.net. We have explored its powerful features from language model, function calling, to the generative AI service and conversation interface. We have witnessed how function toolset enhances our conversation agents, allowing us to execute specific tools seamlessly. It's been an incredible experience. Thank you all for joining me on this wonderful journey. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends and colleagues. And of course, make sure to subscribe to our channel Automation Agent to stay up to date with the latest AI innovations and automation techniques. Thank you once again.